I sit here as the tingliness wears off, following that analgesic flow. During the analgesia, there was a golden candlestick on 4 feet. And this was preceded by a pleasant, warm, flowy feeling. And I saw like a yellow ribbon around most of the rainbowy colors that were about. Volume 1, Number 1, is given to the spring equinox, 1972. Volume 1, Number 2, is given to the summer solstice, 1972. The first starts with an illustration that could be said to relate to sacred marriage, or at least a partnership reacting upon the material world. And it ends in someone complaining that their magical partner has brought the fantastical down to expose what it really is. The second one opens up with somebody considering the left-handed communication, and it closes with a misunderstanding of terms. And the person who was misunderstood, they seem to have lower magic, represented as the worldly endeavors, and higher magic as the celestial. Of course, I'm talking about the symbols on the magician's robe. The third issue starts with a woman being a living version of the physical symbol or altar. A stance in here that I would not go so far as to state is that one person is a real magician or really doing witchcraft or whatever and the other isn't. Perhaps there's a higher order to these things, going beyond mere creeds and social organizations. And I would say that the involvement of the witchcraft or neo-pagan or alternative religion stuff was a lot bigger than what was listed, but the tightly organized official orders that, these people were, here's the Guardian or OTA or whatever contract, and here's the number of people that it goes through. So maybe that number's much, much smaller than any of the numbers being listed. And of course, nowadays, the numbers are even bigger, or even percentages bigger. Initiations aren't freely given. Initiations, require some sort of work. Membership, especially a group with limited access, as a person could say, such a group would have to have certain requirements for its members. I mean, why fill your ranks with members that can't come except once a year, or, only for the quarters or something like that? You want people that will come, once a week or once every other week or something like this if you have limited numbers, and I understand that. There's certain associations and stuff that could be of an embarrassment. You want people who are going to behave fully well and all that stuff. in general, I would say somebody without criminal records or without physical disabilities. I understand where that's coming from. But it needs to be interpreted by a human, not, oh, well, if they can't, fold a particular way, if they can do the general meditation practices and be present, that should be fine. They shouldn't have to sit in the thunderbolt if they don't have the joints or whatever is going on with that position. And certainly people who would have a problem with drugs, well, I mean, legal drugs, illegal drugs, I think when it comes to that, it shouldn't matter. And perhaps some orders, they wouldn't want stuff like that going on their property at all. Hierogamos would be along the lines of an event that could be repeated. I mean, you want to have a good partner for that sort of thing, and these people tend to be people who are going to already be lovers or spouses and all that anyways. People look for conjunctions of planets. One of the things that we do find mentioned in this book here is the talk of reconciliation of opposites, and astrology being a way of doing that, or involving the opposites at the same time, or switching and all that stuff. That's what any oracle does. You can memorize all sorts of stuff, but that's not per se real magic in this way of thinking, right? The point of the Church of Hermetic Sciences, the OTA, is not along the lines of, oh, they want to convert and all that. They want to produce magical adepts. Everyone's supposed to have their own philosophy. One doesn't go too far and worship the heroes of the past, and one does not look at them and, insult and degrade and blaspheme, whatever. It's obvious that Poke Runyon and folk were going to become sort of a, well, you could say non-Christian, but then you could say Christian, in sort of some sort of Gnostic sense or something like this, where they get the meaning, but they don't, A person could say there's no occult secrets, but the access to the training and some information in particular that groups like this would have, the secrecy is supposed to pay off.